Hi everybody, welcome to the dungeon. My name is Robin and today is Flameworking 102.84, the Marigold Petal bead. Patrick always grows vegetables in our backyard and we have a great garden every year. In front of the garden there's a fence, and this year we planted a full row of marigolds and a couple other interesting flowers right in the front. And as I was looking at the marigolds, I thought, gosh, these would look so cool as a petal bead. Therefore, our demo for the day. I hope you all enjoy this one. It's a little lengthy, but it is fascinating either way. And with that said, I hope you're all doing safe and well out there. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time in the dungeon. All right, we're going to get everything started out as always by heating up our mandrel and a little bit of this glass. This is the Effetri pea green that I'm going to start out with, and it's kind of a thin rod, and so I gently try to wrap that around the mandrel to begin with, and just carefully start to wrap it up my mandrel, making sure that my mandrel is nice and hot where the glass is laying down so I don't get any bubbles. And I will just continue to add a little bit there on the end and just start to roll it out. This is about maybe a little bit more than ½ inch of glass here. And we'll end up with, I think it ends up being almost an inch long. And I'm just going to roll my sides out and get everything exactly where I need it to be before we start the marigold petals. And I am going to start out with some clear glass. So this is our first layer. And I'll start right on the edge and just give myself one small wrap of clear. Heat that up just a little bit, but not all the way in. Just make sure it's secure. And then right on the side of that, very close to where the green glass is, where it hits the clear, we are going to add some dots. However many you want. These are on the small side. And I'll add 5 dots here. And this is going to be the same thing pretty much with every single layer that we do. Add our small dots, and then I'll go ahead and start to flatten them down with my knife. And I'm just pressing them straight down, not at, it's kind of in an angle. And then I'm going to always spend a little bit of time heating up your base bead. And then I'm going to use a razor blade tool to heat and press in some texture to these dots. And I'll probably get one, maybe 2 or 3 indentations in each dot. The more the better. All right, that looks good. Now on top of this, we want to leave that raised up. We don't want to melt any of that in. So on top, we're going to add some very large dots of clear. So I have I think it's a 6mm rod here. And I'm going to spend time to gather my clear every time, trying to get the same amount, and then add a large dot right on top of each one of those color pads. And you want to make sure that the clear goes over the color, and that you have enough clear to also flatten down in a minute here and cover the whole bit of color that you have. That's why we're using so much clear. It's enough clear to make another full wrap of clear around this this section. So now I'm going to just press that clear straight down. And when you press it down, you'll see the clear hopefully spread out over your whole color dot. And then I'm just going to very, very gently round it out. Heat my bottom of the glass. Now here, because we're at the very top of the bead, I am going to curl that clear glass around the top. And and that will give the appearance of those specific petals curling over the top. It looks really beautiful. And then at the bottom, I'm going to just press down slightly so it's closer to my base bead. So there's a lot of pressing and flattening going on with this bead. This bead took over an hour to make. So you definitely want to give yourself plenty of time and patience to do a complex bead like this. So on the second layer, I've added my dots right in between the previous dots. And then I'm going to flatten them down and get right back into my razor blade tool, just trying to focus my heat on each dot individually and then pressing it down. I want everything very close together so I don't have to move very far before I press into the glass, because it does cool down pretty quickly. All right, so that's our second layer now, and we're going to repeat with the same thing. Always make sure that you are getting at least twice as much clear as you did for your color dot. Your clear has got to be very large, and again, each one you want to be the same size. So we're going to heat and press down these big clear dots, and it does take time to heat up each gather to press, to then lay it down on the glass. So give yourself time to do that. And then we're going to go ahead and press down nice and flat. And we're also going to press in the contour of the shape as well. So rolling this out a little bit and using my paddle to further just kind of flatten down the clear glass. It's not going to be perfectly round. There's going to be a little bit of texture until the very, very end. So nothing has to be perfectly round just yet. It just needs to be smooth. Okay, so now for our third color. I'm doing a 6-color fade here. And I have 2 yellows, 2 oranges, and 2 reds. And I try to get them to not, how some colors look almost the same when you use them. I try to get colors like a dark orange and a light yellow and a dark yellow, a light red and a dark red. So each layer you would see the color, being different. So now we're getting back into this layer and just pressing everything down. This is the first year that I actively helped Patrick plant our garden. And we always have, it's a vegetable garden, so we have a row of corn. We have like a ton of green pepper plants. Patrick loves bell peppers, so we have a whole bunch of those that we freeze. We cut up, dice, and freeze. So we have those all year long, which is great because they're so expensive. And what else are we growing? Oh, we're also growing cucumber. And I'm telling you, I don't think I ever bought another cucumber from the grocery store after I ate my first cucumber off the vine. I mean, the taste is just so, it's amazing. It's amazing. So I'm all about the cucumber, you guys. And we got sugar snap peas growing, tomatoes, all sorts of stuff. And it's just a lot of fun to be able to finally be a part of Patrick's garden, because it's always been him. And this year, because I have more time on my hands and I'm working from home, I have plenty of time to help him out. So it's been a lot of fun working with him in the garden. And then I was saying in the beginning of the video how in the front of the garden we have a little fence that we planted, just a huge row of marigolds. And they're all different colors, all different shades of red, yellow, and orange. And it was just one of those like perfect moments, like, this is going to be a petal bead. I know it. So we're getting into this this middle section of the bead, and what I want to do is make sure that that clear glass is pressed down into the base bead. And then I'm going to go ahead and just round everything out just a little bit. Again, it doesn't have to be perfectly round. And I'm just going to shape this bottom edge. You'll notice after a while the stem part might get a little, I don't know, it might get a little weird looking. So every now and then you might have to roll that part out. Yeah, I was looking at this. I thought it looked like a little artichoke. Like you could stop here. It could all be green and make little artichokes. Okay, so we are down to the fourth color. And it's the same thing. I'm adding dots right to the side, very close to the base bead every time. You're right there at the edge. And pressing everything down. You know, I had this story I was going to tell you guys. It's the worst burn I ever had story. I know everybody's got a burn story, probably several. But gosh, you know, I was working, it was when I was working at the museum before the glass, the hot shop moved into the glass pavilion. This is when we were at the old location. And I was teaching an adult paperweight workshop. And it was going great. We were having a good time. And, you know, I'm putting away these paperweights in the annealer. And we have a double stacked annealer, so I'm going into the annealer that's above the bottom one. And it's a little higher than me. I'm short. I'm like 5 foot. I'll give myself a stretch. I'm about 5'3". And so the annealer is higher than me, and I'm putting away this paperweight, and I have these brand new gloves that are just kind of very slick. And I'm holding the paperweight in one hand with a pair of tongs and resting it on my glove as I go to put it in the annealer. And so I reach up there, I put it in the annealer, and I don't know what happened, but somehow the paperweight was super heavy and it got away, kind of let loose from the tongs. And I tried to put my arms together to catch the paperweight as it rolled out of the annealer, and it rolled right onto my arms. And oh my gosh, it didn't hurt at all. And I knew I'm in trouble. Therefore, class is over. I had that burn. You know, of course, the scar lasted forever until I got it tattooed over. But I think that was probably the worst burn I ever had, other than the time that I was doing a flameworking demo at some gallery. And I was making this little owl, and it was a flat tabular shaped bead. And I don't know what happened, but you know, when I'm in a crowd and things are happening, people are around, my shakiness tends to be more pronounced, you know? So I'm shaky, and I don't know what happened, but I let go of the mandrel, and the bead with, you know, on the mandrel fell onto my thigh and just stuck there for a second. And I, you know, brushed it off, picked the thing up, and just kept working like nothing ever happened. And I still got the scar from that one today. So always be careful around the flame. I know that we all get burned. Most of the time, I only get burned by picking up tools. Excuse me. Usually I only get burned by picking up tools or things that I think are cool, but they're hot. But those two incidents, those were the worst two burns I ever had. You'll have to share me any of your good burn stories. I've already heard a couple that are pretty good. Okay, so where are we here? We are going to start to add our big clear dots. We have one more color to go, and there's still quite a bit of the stem left on the bead. And that's okay. You can continue to add different colors if you want, more petals. But what I'm going to do is add some leaves. So I'll get back into the green at the very end. So here we are, just flattening the clear, making sure that that clear completely covers your color dot. If it doesn't, you may have to go back in with your clear glass and add a little, small dots on top of any color that might be peeking out from underneath the clear. And now it's looking like a little bouquet. This is really cool. I think you could stop at any point. I was having a lot of fun with this one. This was one of those beads where time ceased to exist. And I lost at least an hour making this bead, and I thoroughly enjoyed every second of it. All right, so we're getting close to the end here, and I want to straighten up the tail end of this bead. And here is our last color. This is like my dark red. It's kind of interesting because when we have our titanium glasses on, you really can't tell the difference between certain colors. And I have my titanium lens over the camera, so it's hard to tell exactly what colors that I'm using, but I did write them down in the description. All right, so these little guys, we're going to go ahead and flatten down. I'm also really glad that you guys got to meet my cat, Onyx. That was an interesting story when Onyx found us. I've always been a cat girl. I love cats. The last cat we had, his name was Slick, and he lived to be about at least 20. He was an old cat, died of natural causes several years ago. It was probably right around 2020 when Slicker passed away. And, we haven't had a pet since. And part of the reason why is because Patrick doesn't like pets. He loves animals, but he doesn't necessarily like to have pets because they are destructive. But I am like an animal lover, and I love to have pets, as many as I can. So, anyway, after Slicker passed away, we didn't have an animal for many, many years. And this past September, it's kind of strange because this was the day that was basically my last day at work before my boss sold the company. So I was super depressed. And it was September 1st of 2026, this past year. And I get home, and Patrick's sitting on the front steps, and I sit down with him. And, we're kind of talking about, gosh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I don't have a job now. Oh, my gosh. Not thinking that, this is my job now. But we're sitting there, and anytime I see a cat, a stray cat, I am constantly like, here, kitty, kitty, come here, kitty, kitty, come to me. And Patrick knows this because he's seen me do it many times over the years. And no cat has ever come to me when I call it. So we're sitting there on the stoop and talking, and I look up, and across the street is this little black cat. And I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that cat. And I start to call it. I'm like, here, kitty, kitty, come here, kitty, kitty. And that cat, like a bullet train, came up, running up to us, laid down by my feet, and has never left. And I'm still shocked because this cat could leave at any time. For the first couple months, he would, wander off, and I'd be like, gosh, I guess that's it. I guess he's not coming back. And boom, there he was the next morning. So we finally decided, because the winter's coming, that I guess this cat wants to be part of our family. And it's just so weird because I've never received an animal like that. And our son Alex told me, he was like, I can't believe this. You are part of the CDS, the cat distribution system. It's all over the internet. It's like a thing. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? And I look it up, the cat distribution system, the CDS, and it is a thing. It is where when you are feeling at your lowest, sometimes the universe will gift you with a cat, and that happened. So it's just the weirdest story, and I'm just so full of love for this cat, Onyx, and he's just one of the best things that's ever happened to me. That's all I have to say. And even better, Patrick thinks his cat is like awesome. So like the perfect cat for us showed up. And I'm just so glad that you guys got to meet him. Anyway, we are almost done with this bead. I added my green leaves, and I only put in one indentation with my razor blade tool. And now in between those leaves, there was a little empty space I wanted to fill up so the whole bead would be evenly spaced out with clear glass. So I put some little clear dots here, and I'm going to press them down now. And now this is where we finally begin to smooth the whole thing out, now that we've made it to the very bottom of the bead. Of course, this bead can be really changed and manipulated to whatever style you want. Dots can be bigger or smaller. Your texture pattern can be different. The colors can be different. The size, everything. So I just hope you guys enjoy this one. It's been a while since I've made a petal bead, and I've wanted to make several since the first one I made, but I just haven't had the chance to until this moment. So we're almost done. I'm just going to finish rounding everything out here with my little graphite paddle and my butter knife. And we are just about done. You just want to be careful smoothing everything out and doing your final rounding. Awesome. Okay, you guys, we are almost done with this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think. And on that note, I hope to see you all next time in the dungeon.